Hello, Pandora. How are you today?
I am good, Steph. How are you doing, honey?
I'm good. Happy Thursday.
Yes,
We're
happy
back.
Thursday and happy episode 5. I can't believe we're on episode 5.
I know it's been so fun. It's going really fast. I can't believe we're already on episode 5. What are you drinking tonight? What kind of tea do you have?
Well, tonight I had to change it up a little bit. I am drinking blackberry sage tea.
Ooh,
Because, sage is good for clearing the energy, bringing up a little intuition, psychic vibes, and some blackberry to sweeten it.
love it. Oh my God, what a change from the peppermint honey. Very cool.
Yes. What about you? What are you drinking?
Well, I wanted to be drinking a cup of vino, but I'm trying to be good and I made a cup of dandelion tea. So that is what I'm having tonight. Good for the liver and some digestion and perfect because it's been a really rainy day in the Bay. So I need a little like warming and cozy at home.
Oh, yeah. That sounds really yummy. I love it.
Well, today's episode, we're going to touch on a couple topics. We're going to cover stuff about Mercury in retrograde, dreams. But before we get into those cool topics, we are going to discuss Pandora's new book that she is a co-author on. So, can you just give us a highlight of the book that you guys just released this week?
Absolutely. I am one of the authors in a book called Going Within to Heal, and it's stories of courage, connection, and community. It's an anthology with 31 authors total, and it was compiled by Elias Patras, who is a friend of mine and intuitive motivator and life coach. So it's really amazing collection of stories. Some of the other authors I know personally. So it's really been a vulnerable process writing because we basically we got the title of the book and we could decide what our chapter is focused on. And my chapter is very personal, very,
Yeah.
very personal.
Yep.
I
Yep.
talk about the loss of my parents, and how I didn't grieve my dad when he passed. And he passed on Thanksgiving 30 years ago.
Wow.
So yeah, so I think the timing of everything, just how it came out. My chapter is called From Grief to Grace, A Journey Back to Myself. So I talk about just how I worked through healing old grief that I had compartmentalized, because I had to jump right back into living like most of us do after a loss, in this world.
Yeah.
We don't take the time to grieve. So yeah, so I know you read the chapter, right?
I did. I read it on Tuesday night when I was flying back from Chicago to San Francisco. And I must say, I really enjoyed your book. I was that crazy person crying on a plane, which I feel like, why do planes make us want to cry? It just is the way it is. Um, so yeah, I really enjoyed just reading your journey with your parents passing and all the tips that you provided in the chapter about ways to process and to grieve and really release. And so, with my dad's passing a couple years ago and other, close loved ones passing, it was just a good reminder of some of the things that I ignore as well from just life happening, work and friends and living just gets in the way of really processing the grief. And so, yeah, I found myself crying, but I also found myself doing that box breathing, that like 4 breaths in, hold for four, 4 breaths out, hold for four. Like that's one of my favorite like breathing techniques to just get re-centered and re-grounded. And so reading that in your chapter was really helpful for me, especially on a plane, because like I still fly a lot, but I'm still anxious on the plane. So it was a good way for me to clear my head and um yeah, and then I also had to watch planes, trains, and automobiles, you know what I mean? So when I was crying on one end, then I was like cracking up on the other. So
Laughing on the other.
um
Well, you got rid of some of the tears so you had space for the laughter again. That
I
was good.
absolutely, yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. Well, people feel free to check out the book. Like I said, Pandora's chapter was really great. It's just a reminder of how to, pass the grief and trauma and any sort of emotional stuff folks are dealing with. I really enjoyed reading it, and thank you for being so vulnerable. It's so hard to really open yourself up like that to the public.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it is. It is hard. And you can find it on Amazon. It's called Going Within to Heal. If you want to get an autographed copy, then my website, pandorap.com, and I will autograph it specifically for you.
You can also find our podcast on Amazon, which is the wildest thing. And you can also give us 5 stars. Thanks so much.
Yes, exactly. Audible via
Yeah, why
Amazon.
not? Shamelessly plug all the things. I love it.
Yes. So we're
Okay,
talking about dreams tonight.
we are. Yeah, so let's get into it. We first let's talk about Mercury in retrograde and like what that means and why it impacts our dreams. Like why, at least for me this week, my dreams have been incredibly vivid and just people have been popping up and it's been kind of wild. So let's just touch on like what is Mercury in retrograde and why does it impact our dreams like it does?
Okay, so we're in Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. It started November 9th, but we had the shadow period before. So sometimes things get a little stirred up about 7 to 10 days before the retrograde period. Then we have retrograde from November 9 through 29. And then we have the shadow period after for another 7 to 10 days.
Uh,
Um, so normally with the retrograde, a lot of people blame everything on the retrograde, with
correct.
the electronics, which is true.
Yep.
When Mercury is traveling backwards, or it appears to be in the sky, electronics can get a little bit messed up. It's a good time to finish anything that's unfinished. You don't want to leave things for the retrograde. You don't want to sign contracts during a retrograde because there's a likelihood that things are going to get a little screwy. So double check, triple check things. It definitely brings up a lot of unfinished energy, unfinished grief, unfinished soul connections. So that's why the dreams can sometimes be more intense because it's reminding you and highlighting and spotlighting things that you haven't worked on or worked through. It is generally, I see, especially with a lot of clients, that it's a time when our exes or ex friends may try to resurface. Even people who are not connected to astrology or planetary action at all will just naturally gravitate toward Mercury retrograde times to pop back in. So keep an eye out for that too.
Which is what happened today for me. I had a friend that I haven't heard from probably 6 months reach out. So I blame everything on Mercury in retrograde. Even today, the internet was kind of slow and wonky at work. And I was like, oh, Mercury in retrograde. And I'm pretty sure my coworkers just think I'm crazy and because I blame everything on the planets, but there is something to it. I can't explain it. There just is, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And this is the worst time to upgrade your phone. If it says there's an upgrade, try and push that off until about December 10th. Give the retrograde shadow period a chance to pass, or with your computer too. Don't do the upgrades right now.
So when we talk about dreams, I feel like some of the dreams I wake up and I remember what happens and there'll be some key symbolism there that I will rush kind of online to go look at, like, what does this mean or what does that mean in terms of our dreams and some of the themes we have? What are some common ones that people get, and kind of what can we learn from them?
So dreams can be broken down into a few different types. We have processing dreams that come in when we're under work stress. There might be some emotions that we haven't purged or processed, or old memories that seem to be haunting us. We have psychic dreams that are going to be talking about the future, where you may have an idea or an experience that feels really real, vivid, that it feels like it's going to happen, and then it actually does. Sometimes we have visits in our dreams from our loved ones in spirit, and those will feel very different. You will wake up with a sense of that person being with you. You'll wake up usually with a lot of emotion and a lot of detailed colors and bright images in your mind. And then there are shadow dreams that bring up our old fears and wounds, and some past life images can come through in a shadow dream. So those types of dreams, it's just good to know that we can break it down into different categories. So obviously there are nightmares too. Nightmares are different than dreams. Nightmares are things that come to us that are based in fear that usually never happened. It's just what our brain is doing. It's taking us to the dark side, Luke. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you asked me about common dreams.
Yeah.
I hear some common themes. Like a lot of clients talk to me about their teeth falling out. That's
Oh, I've had
about
this one before. It
you
freaks me
have.
out.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
so scary when it happens
So
because you wake up
scary.
with those images of like sometimes teeth in your hand or on the pillow or whatever. And that's about having some confidence issues. I've had that happen
Really
when
going for the jugular on that one. Oh my
yeah, when I
God.
was in school, it happened a lot. So
Wow.
it was
Yeah.
like the way that I viewed myself, the lack of confidence or feeling scared of like doing a presentation,
Mm.
sometimes or standing in front of the class. I would have that kind of dream before then. Falling is another theme that comes up a lot, and that's all about feeling ungrounded or out of control. That falling energy and sensation would also be connected to like if you had an image of, I know you just talked about being a little bit of a nervous flyer, but if you had a dream of a plane crash, that's the same thing, the lack of control, loss of control, or needing to ground yourself.
I
uh,
have had that dream before, which is why I'm weird about where I sit.
yeah, and that's good. I mean, I think that it's good to choose your spot on an airplane anyway rather than letting it randomly be chosen, but you determining where you sit is super important because then you are in control in that moment. Um, the other things that come up in dreams, and it's it's interesting. Water is an interesting one. It can be positive or negative. We can see water as like looking out at a beautiful lake with the sunrise and it's all peaceful and calm, or it can be stormy waters. So calm waters are bringing you clarity in the moment, calm, peacefulness. If it's stormy waters, it generally represents being completely overwhelmed in your life. And it's letting you know that it is time for you to delete some things that are not important. Okay. And
Yeah.
there is one that shows up, which is another insecurity dream. I've heard this a lot from clients, which is standing on a stage, being unprepared, and also being undressed.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a common one everyone talks about,
Yeah,
right?
naked on stage in front of everybody, not knowing why you're there. That's really about you putting tons of pressure on yourself to be perfect, expecting that you are going to be able to do everything every time perfectly, perfectionism. So when you get any of these themes, they're pretty easy. Sometimes our dreams are not that easy to figure out. So I suggest some crystals. Um, to clients and friends to work with to clear the energy of their space before they go to sleep, and to have them like on the bedside table. So a couple of them are common that you might even have in your house now. So amethyst is one of the ones that helps to prevent nightmares. So I think that one is super important to have
Ooh,
in your sleeping
interesting.
space. It
Mm-hmm.
also enhances intuition. I always suggest not putting crystals like in your pillow because if you're a sensitive person to energy, that's going to keep you awake. But on the bedside table, that's not on the same surface that you're sleeping on. That will be great because it's just close enough to help you, but not too much to throw you off. If you don't have amethyst, but you have fluorite, and you can get purple fluorite, that would be the closest thing to amethyst. And it will be a little bit better at clarifying your dreams. So to make the images clearer and easier to remember. And then the labradorite is really, really good to stay in your psychic senses. So clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, so you can see, hear, and feel things clearly from your dreams. So you may wake up with those sense memories if you work with labradorite. Um, then the only other one for protection and to clear the energy field would be selenite. Do you have any selenite? It's
I
that white
do.
stone. Yeah.
Yes, I do. I have it in the shape of a heart that I use when I'm doing Reiki.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
very protective for that
Mm-hmm.
and to prepare the energy field for the healing energy. I love
Yep.
it.
But I actually sleep with one of my quartz crystals next to my nightstand, and then I've got a couple other ones. I've got like a kyanite, a moldavite, some citrine, One thing that I like to do that's kind of fun is I will sleep with one of them in my hand, in my left receiving hand, and kind of see what my dreams are like that night. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes they do get kind of weird because they are tied to the crystal. So I'll never forget, I one time slept with my citrine crystal in my left hand, and I had a dream about like getting a new job and even had like a salary number come in the dream. And I woke up the next day and I was like, this is crazy, and had to write it down in my sleep journal. So people could try and see what happens if they sleep with different crystals next to them, if their dreams get altered as well.
Yeah, and remember, especially with quartz crystals, so clear quartz or citrine or even rose quartz, they have a tendency to take in the energy of what they experience with us. So your crystal is going to carry your story. So for the time that you've had the crystal, it's going to remember things with you and for you. So it can really intensify the dreams. So I would say if you're a sensitive to energy person, clear quartz, sleeping with that in your hand or on the same surface like of the bed with you is good. Start there and
Yeah,
then expand out.
yeah, and you'll notice too that if, or at least I've noticed, if I don't have the quartz with me, my dreams are a lot duller and not as like vivid, and I don't remember it. Versus if it's in the room with me, my dreams I definitely remember more the next day, and they're definitely more like lucid and vivid in terms of the experience I have, which is another thing that I'm always like, this is so cool. Like I can't explain it.
Yeah, it's great. I was thinking for our listeners, have any of your dreams popped into your head? And if you're somewhere where you can leave us a comment, if you're listening somewhere where you can leave us a comment, what are the dreams that you're remembering? And then what are the images that are repeating? Because when we pay attention to the images that are repeating in dreams, sometimes we can decode them too. So that's why a dream journal is good, or even leaving yourself a voice memo before you move. So the key to a dream journal or a dream voice journal is really just doing it before you wake up too much and before
Yeah.
you physically move,
Yeah, I
because
mean,
that's where you're going to get the raw information.
yeah, and I've actually like woken up in the middle of the night, put it into my dream journal, and then went back to sleep. And then the next day, I'll like take a look and I'll be like, "What the hell was I writing here? Like this didn't really make sense." But I can't. And then rereading it kind of almost makes it come alive again. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that was what my dream was like." So
Yeah, exactly. And it is it's really good. And there's no right or wrong way to track your dreams, but once you start doing it, you'll find that the dreams start to make more sense. You learn the language of your dreams then, rather than just thinking, "Oh, that was weird," and then you try and shake it off as we humans do. Let me get rid of this so I can get back to my day now. Delete. This is
yep.
not key information. But if you write it down, you're going to learn more from it and what your subconscious mind is trying to tell you, because your subconscious speaks in your dreams.
Yeah, and I remember one of the dreams I had, and I want to say this is maybe 2 years ago. It was like I was pregnant with twins, and I woke up being so freaked out. I remember reaching out to you, and you're like, "Oh, that just means that you're like, working on a new idea or something new is going to happen. You're birthing some like new project," and that context made so much sense. But like when you have the dream experience, and you're like, "Wait, this doesn't make any sense. This is freaking me out." Sometimes putting it into a dream dictionary or kind of looking at what the symbolism is can bring some comfort, and you don't feel so like unsettled by what you see or experience.
Yes, exactly. I was thinking too that I haven't talked about what I hear sometimes from clients and friends is that they have a really hard time remembering their dreams. And just wanted to say, you've got to set yourself up for success. And what I mean by that is if you are on your phone, on your laptop, got the TV going, got the music in the background, you're not letting your brain calm down and prepare for the dream state. You are literally keeping your brain as active as possible. Then you turn off all the lights and you're like, okay, sleep now, dream now. And you can't command yourself to do that. You need to have a bit of a digital detox before you get into the dream state for it to be effective and for you to learn things, right? So
Yep.
you can turn off as many of those electronic devices as possible. If you have a salt lamp, one of those Himalayan salt lamps, that's really good to calm everything down in your space because salt purifies. and it's a nice soft light. So your eyes can start to relax and your brain gets those cues. Okay, it's time to slow down. And if you can do it, put your phone on another surface, put your phone on the bedside table or in another room, because that's ideal. Because the things that we don't realize are happening is there's energy being emitted from those electronics all the time. Little notifications, energy vibes, you got to turn
Yep.
that down.
Yep.
So basically, your nervous system needs calm to create dreams and the ability to recall those dreams.
Yeah, and one thing I love to do is I love yin yoga, and even just doing the legs up the wall is another way to get your body kind of in rest mode so that you can get a good night's rest. The phone one
Yeah,
is so difficult though. Like, it's so easy to scroll and lay in bed and watch a little TikTok or see what's going on Instagram. But then you're right, like you don't feel tired because you're just constantly getting, overstimulated when you should be resting. So,
100%. Yes. But and the other thing, I don't talk about it that much connected with dreams, but it's so necessary is to be hydrated. Have some water because water helps to balance our systems. Water also helps to balance our emotion. And part of what gets us into our dreams is our emotions, right? Emotions are deeply connected to the dream state. So have a
mhm.
little glass of water before you go to bed.
I love it. All right, well, should we do a card pull?
I think that's a great idea. So
Okay.
would you like to focus it on what's going on for the remainder of the retrograde? So that would be like the rest of November. Excuse me, the rest of November.
Why not? Yeah. I mean, Mercury retrograde kind of messes up everything anyway. So let's see what to expect for the second half of November.
Okay, I'm gonna focus on what's in our highest and best. And I'm using the Pandora's Box of Cards Oracle deck. It's my first Oracle deck that I created. Okay. Ooh, big breath. Yeah. If you could just see, if we were doing this on video, you could see how amused I am by the card that just came up.
Oh
It's
man.
the unplug, put your electronics in timeout card. What was I just talking about? In
Jeez
order to have
Louise.
good dreams, unplug, remove yourself, from the electronic vibes. So this is useful for the dreams, like we were just talking about, but it's also going to be really useful when we're in this period of retrograde, and the likelihood is that your electronic devices are going to have errors. They are going to give you things that you're not looking for. You may even have problems searching for something on Google that the answer is there and it won't give you an answer, right?
Yep.
So the other thing that happens when we unplug, and I feel like the reason this card came up, is that when we unplug, we have to sit with ourselves. We have to be present with our emotions. We have to be present with our physical body, which sometimes our electronics distract us from too. How many times have you been scrolling on your phone and then you get up to go to the bathroom and you realize that your leg's asleep because you were sitting on it and you almost fall over,
I
right?
mean, too many to count. Yeah. I
Yes,
mean, TikTok
exactly.
just escapes, my whole day
Yeah.
is lost to it. So,
Yeah, so we need to think about that. So unplug, ground yourself, put your electronics in timeout, recognize that as hard as it is, Mercury retrograde happens multiple times a year, four, I think, three, four. Anyway, and we always get through it. So we've got basically a little over 2 weeks. We're going to get through this one too. And you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. But unplug, definitely unplug.
uh, I
Oh,
should do a digital detox. It's so much harder. It's easier said than done, but it's a good
it
reminder
is.
for us all. Yeah. And I
Yes.
also am curious too about like where AI goes when it comes to Mercury retrograde. Like, does that mean that it glitches or it gives you false information, or does it take too long to respond? These are all things that also could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I have I've heard of timeouts, where it's like searching for something and it times out. It
Yep.
never gives you the answer. I do feel like it's always important to double check your sources, whether it's AI or whether it's a human being, but definitely during retrograde, double check the AI sources it's given you, because it may be just giving you things you want to hear and not things that you need to know. or it can just be making it up. You know, because
Yep.
sometimes it's going to draw information from what other people have searched for and what other people have asked for versus real, you know, facts. So that's where we can run into a lot of trouble
Yeah,
with
that's a good
AI. As
reminder.
good as it is,
Yeah.
you got to double check your sources.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Really interesting getting your insight onto the dream state and Mercury retrograde.
Yes, and thank you. And I know that we probably are going to get some questions from people about dreams, and that's okay. I'm happy to answer in the comments. But if you guys think we should do a dreams part 2, let us know because we can dive deeper into the dream world. We absolutely can.
I love it. Yeah, I always want to talk about dreams because they think they're so fascinating. And I always love when my past ones come visit me in a dream. So another thing folks could do is just asking for them to come visit because that's what I
Yeah,
do.
we didn't talk about that. I do that
No.
as well. So when you're missing your loved ones in spirit, make sure to actually have a couple minutes with them, have a conversation in your head or out loud. They will hear you both ways, and you can ask them to come join you. Come visit me in a dream.
Yep.
Let me know that you were there. Show me something that will let me know that it's really you. You know, you can ask them for that type of a sign. Like with my parents, they both collected owls. I might ask them to come through with an owl message or something even more specific than that, right? So,
Mm,
yeah, ask for them to join you.
yep.
And it has worked for me multiple times. And sometimes I get family members that I didn't ask for. Someone else will join in and it'll be like a little party in my dream, in my visit.
Love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do the same and they always show up. So it's incredibly comforting. I love it.
That's awesome. Well,
All
Steph,
right.
this has been great. And
Yes.
thank you to everybody for joining our little tea party. And make sure that you like and follow us.
Yeah, and we will catch you on the next one. Until then, enjoy your tea.